Sound of Freedom is a movie that just came out today, July 4th, and it is directed by Alejandro Monteverde.
Film and Theology with Jared.
It is a movie that focuses on the child X industry, if you catch my drift. It's rated PG-13, and it follows a man, which is based on a true story, a man who quit his government job to go save a little girl. I won't get into spoilers or anything like that. It is a very serious movie. I went into watching this movie with my friend last night thinking that I was going to get entertained. And it is not a movie that you go to see to get entertained. You go to watch this movie to be educated on the X industry within America, just within the world. So don't watch this movie to get entertained. It's not that. It's not a date movie. All right, don't go see this movie with a date on your first date. Just don't do that. There is some language. I was actually surprised. There are 2 uses of the S word and 3, I believe, 2 or 3 uses of the A word. And with it being directed or produced by Angel Studios, I was a little shocked at that, but I think at the same time it shines a light on just the realness, right? The world is not clean. The world is not pure. It is evil. It is vile. It is sinful and broken. And this movie does a good job at shining a light on that without getting too explicit. This movie is PG-13. It's not R, so there is no nudity. There is none of that. But there's a lot of things within the movie that it kind of hints at that. Like it cuts off screen. You kind of know what's happening off screen. Not a lot of action in this movie. A little bit, but not a lot. Again, it's not an entertainment kind of movie. It's a story-driven movie. The budget for this movie was roughly $25 million. That might sound like a lot, but it's actually not. Movies today, big blockbuster movies can go up to $100 million. So $25 million, it sounds like a lot, but it's not. But I did some research, and the movie Taken, that has Liam Neeson in it, was the same budget. It was $25 million. And I gotta say, the movie Taken definitely, comparing the 2 movies, Sound of Freedom is not Taken. It's not that. I'm not comparing it to that. But it kind of feels like the Christian version of that a little bit. But this is based on a true story, and Taken isn't. But Taken is definitely more entertaining. It's more captivating. There's more action in it. There's more, you're just sitting on your seat kind of thing. With this movie, there is that, but it's not a lot. And so with it being the same budget, I was a little shocked to kind of see that these 2 movies had the same budget. Again, this director as well, he's only made a handful of movies. I'm not entirely sure who has directed Taken. Great movie also, by the way. But this movie is about Sound of Freedom and not Taken, so let's focus on Sound of Freedom. Some of my thoughts, some of my takeaways from this movie. The movie was quiet. And when I say quiet, I mean like I'm sitting in my chair, and it's like if I move a little bit, the whole theater can kind of hear me. I don't know if that was the movie itself or if that was just the speakers within the theater. It sounded extremely quiet, not as loud. And this movie, it felt like a Christian movie, but it was good. It was a good Christian movie. It wasn't cheesy. It wasn't really cringy. If anything, it made you uncomfortable in a way that was like, hey, this is real. There's some scenes in this movie that, again, I won't get into spoilers, but there's one scene, it's kind of more towards the end of the movie, and it depicts a bad guy who is about to do something to a little kid. And it just was very intense. Very, very intense. My last thought with this movie, my last kind of little niche, is there wasn't that much music in it. There was music, but I felt like it could have used more. And I think that's kind of what made it a little awkward or a little tense, I guess. Now, mind you, music, it doesn't need to be 24/7 in a movie, but music does help convey emotion. It helps drive that emotion and drive the audience to want to engage more. And so that would be my only main focus, was just there was a lack of music. There was music. So if you're considering watching this movie, I encourage you, go and see this movie, especially in theaters. It needs the support. It's based on a true, real story, which is awesome. And this movie is just, it has the potential to shine a light on modern day slavery, especially the child X industry. And the more support this movie gets, the more of a difference we can make, especially as Americans, as people who have money, who can go to the theater. There is a industry out there, child X industry, or even just the slavery industry, that is huge. All right, today it's been the biggest it's ever been in all of history, and we just live our lives like it's not even there, and we just pass by, and we probably walk by people and buy things constantly that are made by people who are in slavery, that are made from people who are in captivity, and we need to stand up and fight for their freedom, because in the message within the movie was, God's children are not for sale. They're just not. And who are God's children? It's everyone, right? Humanity. We're made in God's image. We're not for sale. And that was kind of the main message, of the driving message of this movie. No one's for sale. Yet we live in a time where the slavery industry is the biggest it's ever been. That's a problem, and that's an issue, and that needs to get addressed. And so going and seeing this movie will help support shining a light on that. It will help in shining a light on that industry, but it will also help with fighting against it as well. I hope this video encouraged you. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, and follow for some more content. I haven't posted in a while, but I'm going to start to continue to do that again. So if you enjoy this content, consider subscribing.